Good day to all of you. Welcome to ODL session. This is Managed Economics class, week 3, lecture 7. Today's topic is we are going to discuss a case study in price elasticity of demand. Get into the class. Before explaining about any particular numerical example in price elasticity of demand, first we should know what is price elasticity is. Let us start with the basic idea about the price elasticity, like definition, formula and types, and then we will solve one case study. Professor Alfred Marshall have introduced the concept price elasticity of demand. Actually, he introduced elasticity of demand in order to overcome the limitation of the law of demand, and there are different elasticities like price elasticity, income elasticity, cross elasticity and so on. In this class we are going to study about definition, formula and types of price elasticity and a case study. First, let us know the definition of price elasticity. In the words of Alfred Marshall, the degree of responsiveness of demand due to change in the price of the product is known as price elasticity of demand. By using this particular definition, we can formulate the formula for the price elasticity of demand. What is the formula? Price elasticity of demand EP equal to proportionate change in demand divided by proportionate change in price. Sometimes it can be expressed in percentage also. How we can convert the price elasticity of demand EP equal to percentage change in demand divided by percentage change in price. Symbolically, EP equal to dou D by dou P. Here EP is the price elasticity of demand, dou D is the percentage change in demand, dou P is a percentage change in price. Based on the value of price elasticity, that is EP equal to dou D by dou P, when we calculate the value, based on that value, we can divide the price elasticity into 5 categories. The first category is the unity elasticity of demand. Consider the demand is increased by 10%. Why it has increased? Due to the change in price by 10%. So what will be the value of the price elasticity? It will be unity. Why? Because dou D by dou P. Dou D is 10%, dou P is 10%. When you calculate 10% by 10%, it is equal to 1. So this can be diagrammatically we can represent by measuring the quantity demanded in the horizontal axis and price in the vertical axis. Then the demand curve gives 10% shift in the demand as well as price. When these two changes are equal, then we used to call it as unitary elasticity. Then what is the second type? Relatively inelastic demand. Suppose the situation changes. The demand is increased only 5% because there is a change in price by 10%. Here, the change in price is more, change in demand is less. So when we calculate the price elasticity, dou D by dou P, 5% by 10%, which will be less than 1. So equal to 1 is unity, less than 1 means we used to call it as relatively inelastic demand. How to represent diagrammatically? By measuring the quantity demand in the horizontal axis, price in the vertical axis. You can see the diagram. The price decreased from PO to P1 5%. Because of that, the demand increased. So this is relatively inelastic. Then it is in the reverse. When the demand is more and it will be greater than 1. 10 divided by 5, then the value of price elasticity is relatively elastic. That is why we used to call it as relatively elastic. When it is equal to 1, unity, less than 1, inelastic, greater than 1, then we used to call it as relatively elastic. This is the first 3 types. There are some situation, 2 extremes. There will be change in price, no change in demand, or there will be no change in price, there will be some change in demand. So in that situation, how we have to handle that? So we have to say perfectly elastic demand. The demand is increased by 10%, but there is no change in price. Because of price, the demand is not changing. Some other factors is influencing, then you used to call this particular situation as perfectly elastic. Here the dou d is 10%, but dou p is 0. So anything divided by 0 is indeterminate. So how the demand curve will be? It is parallel to the quantity demanded. So 10% change in demand, no change in price. So it is perfectly elastic. And the next extreme situation is perfectly inelastic. Here uh, the price is changing but demand is constant. No change in demand even though there is a change in price. What will happen? The demand curve will be parallel to the price axis, not the quantity axis. So dou d is 0, dou p is 10%. 0 by 10 is equal to 0. So the price value is 0. So this particular price elasticity we used to call it as perfectly inelastic demand. So having these 5 types of price elasticity, what are they? Unitary elasticity is equal to 1. Inelastic less than 1. Elastic is greater than 1. When it is infinity, it is perfectly elastic. When it is 0, then it is perfectly inelastic. Keeping this keeping these 5 in our mind, let us solve the following case study. Before that, I will summarize. When proportionate change in demand 10%, proportionate change in price also 10%, it is unitary elasticity. But in the second case, the demand is less, price changes more, so it will range between 0 to 1. When the demand is 10% and proportionate change in 5% is greater than 10 by 5 is greater than 1. When price is 0, it is infinite. When demand is 0, it is perfectly inelastic. So these are the 5 situations. Now we will solve the case study. This question will be asked in your semester end examination. In ABC company, the monthly sales is 12,000 units and the price is rupees 100 for the product. This is the case. The company is planning to increase the sales by reducing the price. The price reduced to 90 rupees. And due to price reduction, the sale is increased to 15,000 units. Initially it is 12. Now it is 50. With the current scenario, suggest the firm whether to continue the reduced price or not with the value of price elasticity. This is the first question. And they are asked one more question. In case there is no change in the sales, even the reduction in price, what is the price elasticity of demand for the firm? So these two questions should be answered. Let us get into the solution. In case of demand increase by 20%, why it is 20%? Because 12,000 is the actual sale. Now the current sale is 15,000. So 3,000 addition. That 3,000 is a 20% increase for the thing. Due to change in 10% change in price. Why it is 10%? From 90 rupees it has increased to 100 rupees. So approximately 10%. Therefore, the value of price elasticity will be EP equal to dou D by dou P. Here 20% increase in demand, 10% increase in price. So reduction in price. So how it will be? It will be greater than 1 because the price changed by 20%. I think it is in reverse. That should be changed. 20% change in the demand only, not that particular thing. So whenever it is there, it is a greater than 1. Therefore, it is relatively elastic for the demand. So let's move to the second question. If there is no change in demand with a 10% change in price, because the sale is not changing, same 12,000, what will happen? It will be perfectly inelastic. Why? Because the price is changed but demand is not changing. So 0 by anything, any value which will be equal to 0. 0% by 10% which is equal to 0. It is perfectly inelastic demand. So this is the way we should express. With this, I am completing the class. Thank you. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. I am Dr. Chandrachud, Professor in Department of Economics, School of Management Studies and Commerce, Wales Institute of Science and Technology and Advanced Studies. This is my email ID and my contact number.